Hello, Forecaster here again, and we are back for episode 199, and we are here in the base, and there isn't a whole lot happening right now. So, we're going to do some minor stuff that I want to do. So, you may remember that I set this system up relatively recently. And I've actually made a better way of getting down there. Just forgotten to replace that stone block. So instead of having to climb through that hole all the time, I made a little hidden access way here, which is a little nicer, I think. So I set this up, and I actually complained that the way this works, it allows things to get stuck, which is obviously a bad thing. Now you can see that I've taken the dusts out, and I've also got some additional types of dusts. Ow! Stop it! In my inventory, that I actually got produced because some of the dust, you can't craft these directly, and I of course didn't want to go out and get ores to get them. So what I did was I made some plates and then macerated them. Now that costs one piece of dust, because you can see you only get 8 dusts back, but I think that is an acceptable loss. So, the problem with this setup currently is that dust will be filtered, or tiny piles of dust will be filtered down here, will be sorted to this green path by this diamond pipe. Go away, bat, you're distracting me. And they will go into this hopper. Now the way that hoppers work, vanilla hoppers, and by extension these pneumatic craft ones and some other item transport methods do this as well. They will insert whatever they are inserting in the first available slot. So slots start at slot 0 and then they count up, and when the hopper has, say, some iron dust in it, there's iron dust, it's going to go through each slot, and if the slot is empty, it's obviously going to, and I'm assuming that it is unfiltered, it's obviously going to be able to put the item into the slot. Now if the and then so it's inserting one item at a time in some cases, like these hoppers do. So it's going to put one item in, then it's going to have another item that in its first slot. We're assuming that the slot here contains the dust. Then it's going to check again, and the next piece, the first slot 0 has iron dust in it. It's going to put another piece of dust there, because it will accept the same type, unless the stack is full, of course. Now, say the next item is copper dust. It's going to check the first slot. This has iron dust in it, so it's not going to accept any copper dust, of course. It's going to move on to the next slot. Now, this slot is going to receive, because it's empty, a piece of copper dust. Now, let's say that this block activated for some reason, and it consumed this iron dust. The next item, and this all happens very quickly within ticks, of course. Now, the next cycle, the hopper is going to come and it's going to check the first slot, which is now empty. It's now going to accept a piece of copper dust, and this happens. And then the next cycle, it's going to continue accepting copper dust. And we now have 2 slots taken up by copper dust, because this slot still has copper dust in it. And the problem, one of the problems, this problem is aggravated by the fact that the packager, which is this block, will only package items when a single stack has the required amount. So if there's 7 copper dust here and 2 here, it's not going to be able to see that that is enough for a single package. So nothing is going to happen. So until it gets enough in this stack for a single package, nothing is going to change. And things can get backlogged if this hopper fills up with dusts that aren't copper in this case, because then no more copper is going to go in here and no other dusts are going to be able to go into the packager. I have a solution to this, however. First, we're going to have a look at this. So this is my tiny dust list. You know that I put iron and gold in it, and you can see that it matches iron and gold. Now, I've ignored these buttons because I didn't remember what they do. But I was reminded of their existence, and I poked at them a bit. And this one, the type filter, if you turn this on, you can see that it adds a bunch of dusts to this list, even though I only have iron dust in the list technically. It takes what's in the first slot, and it will match anything that is the same type in the OR dictionary, which in this case is tiny pile. Not exactly sure of the formatting of that, but I assume it's just tiny pile. It's the prefix. So you can see that it now matches all of these, and it will match other things like lapis dust. You also have the material, which is what the M stands for. So it will match anything, and the material in this case is of course iron. So we'll match anything in the OR dictionary that is iron. You can also combine these, turning both on at once. The only thing that matches there's only one tiny pile of iron dust, or only one tiny dust iron. So there's only one item in the list. There could be something. If we remove that, get lead, no. Gold, no. Tin, no. There could be something that there are multiples of from different mods. But what we want in this case is the type, of course, because we want all tiny dusts to come down here. So we're going to set that, and then we can update this with this new list. So now any tiny dust, regardless of if I don't need to have them anymore, are going to be sent down here. So I want to fix this, and I have a solution. I came up with it after on the same day as I recorded that episode where we set this up. We're going to get rid of this, and then we're going to go get something that I have elsewhere that is going to allow us to improve this quite a bit, actually. We can also get rid of these. We aren't going to need them anymore. Don't strictly need to remove them because they aren't going to be in the way either. So up here, I have this thing, which I intended to use in the factory originally, but I never really ended up using it for anything. I think because the way the factory worked changed a bit. So this is the filtered buffer. Let's put it here to begin with. It's not going to be here for long, but we're going to have a look at the interface. So in case you don't know, this is a block from Railcraft. You can see by the tag, the mod name there, BC Transport. We have a look at the interface. You can see that it has 9 slots, and the drawback of this is that I can't use the filter on this. But what this does is these are filter slots. They take ghost items. They don't take actual items. These slots are real slots. If I take this tiny pile of copper dust, try to insert it in one of these slots, it doesn't work. It's pretty obvious by the forbidden sign that is in the background. However, if I set a filter here, it's going to open up this slot, but it's only going to accept the filtered item. So if I try to insert these covers, it's not going to work, obviously. So I can insert tiny piles of copper dust here, and it will accept a single stack of them. So if I put in the iron dust in this, it's only going to accept the iron dust, of course. And you can probably see where I'm going with this. I'm going to keep a single stack of each of the dust types that I specify in this block. So I'm going to put this right next to the packager, because the packager will take items from adjacent inventories to create packages. It doesn't pull them into this inventory. It takes the items from here and makes the package directly. So what we can do is we can specify this so it will keep a stack of each, or up to a stack of each of these dusts. And because each slot will only accept the specified type of item, there isn't going to be any locking or blocking of slots for the other items. So we can put these in here directly. Since there aren't enough to create a package, nothing is going to happen. So let's see. Can I macerate these somehow? No. Don't think I have any tiny piles of dust available. We can pop up quickly and macerate a random plate, I suppose. Should give us enough. Do have some copper plates. I don't mind losing another tiny pile of dust. It's not a big deal. Far from it. So we'll take these, and this will give us enough dust to create a package. Alright, still going that way out of habit. So I'm going to I am going to turn this away, and I'm going to take this paper out of here. So now if I put this in, nothing is going to happen. If I put the paper back, actually what I need to do, I realize, is turn this away. Okay, so it doesn't pull anything out. So now if I put 9 of these into here, you can see that it grabbed 9 of them, and it made a package containing 9 tiny piles of copper dust. And now if I turn this back, it's going to put it in here. It's going to... oh, yeah, right. Well, I don't want that. Let's allow those to pop out. That piece of paper as well. I was afraid it was going to pull stuff to there. Okay, that can go up and be smelted. That is fine. So, now, we take these hoppers, the one that was here originally and one that I happen to have, and we're going to use these as simple buffers. So any tiny pile of dust is going to be sent into this hopper. It's going to go into here, and then it's going to go into here. And it's going to go into its appropriate slot. And once the slot has 9 items, the packager is going to take them. We probably won't need these ever, but I'll keep them there anyway, just in case. Pretty much the only time this would get backlogged is if either there's a lot of dust coming in and I don't think my ore processing system can produce that much dust because it's rather slow, or if this system runs out of paper, which is also pretty unlikely, I would say. But that's basically that. I kind of wish I had remembered I had this when I first set this up, but oh well. At least I have it there now, and I think that is a much more elegant solution. I had some other solutions suggested after the episode went up, where I set that up, and one of those was, for example, the sorting machine, which of course uses power, which is not really desirable. I mean, it wouldn't be a big deal, I suppose, but it's not that great either, because I would have to pull a cable down there. Filtered buffer is, of course, doesn't use any power. A little low on iron. That is unfortunate. Not low on liquid experience, though. I might need to add a recipe to turn that back into bottles of enchanting. I did look at the ratios for that at some point. I need to look at that again so I get the amount right, depending on how much experience you can get at most from a bottle of enchanting. Because I don't want to, I want there to be a slight loss from even assuming that the disenchanting process of the crucible furnace is 100% efficient, which it probably isn't. I want there to be a loss when you turn the liquid experience back into a bottle of enchanting. So it costs more liquid experience than what you can possibly get out of the bottle. Now, the amount of experience orbs you get out of a bottle is, of course, a bit random. There's a min and max value. So I'm going to take that max value into account. How are my farms doing? I'm running low on fertilizer, apparently. How's this doing? Looks like it still has some. Very low there as well. I need to keep an eye out for that. Ow. You're not the one who shot me, you are. Ow. You die. Give me a pair of golden leggings. No enchantment on them. I can try to repair them and then smelt them down for a tiny bit of gold. That's what I tend to do. But yeah, that is yeah. I lost my train of thought there. Again, tends to happen occasionally. But yeah, I'm going to have to keep an eye out for appetite when I am exploring caves and such. Not something that happens very often, but when it does, I'm going to have to keep an eye out for appetite and get some. Take these as well. We can smelt these down. Yeah. So I'm going to need more of it. Usually, I think it tends to spawn in a decent amount. So I should be able to get a bit of it if I find some. Or I'm going to be in trouble soon when the farms run out. I'm going to use up some of this experience juice to repair some stuff. So I get some room in my pipes. I'm not going to smelt down the steel armor, of course, because that can be useful. I also want to... Let's call it the elevator. I want to have a look upstairs at the bees, see how they are doing. Since they're automated now, they should have produced some combs for me at least. Let's see. Once this is done, I can put in the steel helmet and then we can head up to the surface, have a look at the bees, preferably during the night so I don't get poisoned. I think it should be night soon. Well, it's about midday. It's a bit convenient that you can technically use these types of items without actually having them. Maybe a little cheaty, but I have enough inventory management or inventory space issues without having a watch on me at all times. Just imagine I'm wearing one on my arm. Going to remember to update this filter as well, and then we can put these or that away. Is this done? No. There's a lot more left. That's a lot slower than I thought it would be. Let's head up, despite it still being day, because I'm bored. Hopefully I won't get poisoned. Let's have a quick nip up here. Grab some combs. 12. It's not too bad. I haven't had the server running for very long, so it's not like it's been running continuously for days. I think I mentioned this before, but I turned the server off that I'm using to record this when I'm not playing, because my base is chunk loaded because it's too close to spawn. My power plant would basically be running all the time, and I don't like that. It was kind of a mistake to build it this close to spawn, but I didn't know at the time that the chunk loading area was this big, which is of course why one of the many reasons that I am moving is to get away from that. So once that happens, I don't need to shut the server down. So speaking of the server, so one of the reasons that I've had some people, like a couple of people, ask if they can play on this server, after they've asked if I have one. And unfortunately, the answer has been no. And I would like people to play with, um, but unfortunately, the server I have can't really handle that. It can barely handle me playing on it alone. Um, because the processor in the server is an old single core processor, which is actually a lot worse than I thought it was. I thought it was at least a dual core, but apparently not. Apparently it was even older than I thought. Um, but yeah, so the server is bad. However, I'm in the process of updating it, or I'm going to update it when I get some more components. I have the motherboard and processor from my main computer, which of course aren't being used right now because I upgraded my main computer. So I plan on putting those in the server, and the processor for my main computer should be a lot better than. Right. The reason that looked like it wasn't done was because the item hadn't updated. But yeah, so I think my old processor for my main computer is a quad core something or other. Oh, the hammer broke. Dang it. So it should be a lot better than the current server processor. The problem is, and the reason that I haven't already upgraded it, is because the motherboard doesn't have a built-in graphics card in it. So I don't have anywhere to plug a screen into it. And I need a screen to be able to install the operating system and set the server up before it will be available over the network like normal. And unfortunately, the only graphics card I have that is not in use is broken. I found out because I put it on the server, or in the new server, and it didn't work. There was the screen didn't turn on, and I think that is the reason why I have that card, is because I replaced it from my main computer when it broke. But yeah, so I'm currently waiting to get a graphics card sent to me. Just a low-end, crappy old one. But it doesn't matter because it's a server. It doesn't really need a graphics card other than to get a screen working so you can see what you're doing. And normally won't need one because I access it remotely. But yeah, right. I was going to make a new. Let's just get a stack or two. Going to make some nether brick. But yeah, so I'm currently waiting on that. Once I do, I will continue, or I'm going to set up the new server. It's also going to have a much bigger hard drive. The current server has like 120 gigabytes or something, really old, crappy hard drive. The new server is going to have a 2 terabyte drive in it. It's going to be a lot better to allow me to store much more stuff on it. The current one keeps running out of space occasionally, which is annoying. The current server is also a mess. It has a bunch of crap installed on it, which I'm not using. Some broken stuff. And I'm going to start the new one from scratch and only transfer files, like the Minecraft server and website stuff, to reconfigure and reinstall a bunch of stuff, I'm going to switch some stuff out, mostly in the web server software. Going to try some different things, and hopefully it will be a lot better. That would be the idea. So yeah. But yes, I'm eagerly awaiting that card now, at the moment. And I'm hoping it will arrive in not too long. See, I need some lava, which you can get from over here. It's got plenty. You don't want to. I don't want to click the outside of the tank with the cells like I would do normally, because that's going to eat them. Because the tanks are a bit buggy with fluid containers. Okay, so now I'm going to make some what are they called? Burnt brick, right. They are literally called burnt bricks. Right. Okay. And then we're going to make... Wait. What was the recipe again? Is it... There we go. Blacksmith. Blacksmith's hammer. Actually need 2 of those. Make another one, just to have a spare one. And then I don't have enough blocks. Put one there. We can put the other one there. It's not going to do anything, of course. But I can grab it to put here when this one breaks again, which is going to happen eventually. It doesn't just cost experience juice to do this. It also costs some physical materials. Granted, those materials are really cheap, but still. They're from the Nether, though, which makes them a little harder to get than normal. But we have reached the end of the episode, and we have gotten some minor stuff done around the base. We can actually pop up and check what those combs produced. Should have some silky propolis, hopefully. Yes. Can process that as well into some silk wisps, hopefully. We get 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5. I think that is enough for another... no. Don't have any. It's going to be a while before the next backpack upgrade. Right, so that is going to be enough for this episode. And I will see you in the next one. Hi! Welcome to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please click the like button. If you didn't, click the dislike button. Or leave a comment telling me either way, because any sort of user engagement makes YouTube more likely to show the video in searches or suggestions. Now, did you know that I have a page on my website that has a list of all of the shows I have on YouTube, even past ones, along with their respective publishing schedules, as well as a list of all of the past videos that is searchable by series, tags, or title. And I also have a subscription system that is entirely separate from YouTube's that allow you to subscribe to specific shows from me, as well as stream notifications, such as when I schedule or start a stream. So if that sounds useful, do go and check that out. There are links in the description.